Uh, this is Ann Davis, and I'm here today with Vice Mayor Bo Perkinson. And Bo, we certainly appreciate you coming and being a part of this interview today. This is September the 29th, 2020. And I would like to start out by asking you just a little bit about your childhood and education and what it was like growing up here in McMinn County, Bo.
Thank you, Ann. Glad to be here today. Glad to be here giving this information. And I attended Athens City Schools. Started the first grade here in Athens. Went through the last 8th grade class at the City Park Elementary School. The first class then at the new Athens Junior High. And so then I went to McMinn County High School. It's interesting, I think, when I talk to my friends across the country and across even the city, I walked to grades 1 through 12. For the time I was in the first grade, the time I was in the 12th grade, my location of my home was so close, I just walked off school all the time. It was kind of neat. My mom and dad were from Athens. Mom was a school teacher. Dad was a life insurance underwriter. And my sister Ann was going to leave town to go to college. Already was enrolled at an out of town college, and then was offered a tennis scholarship at Tennessee Western College by then Coach Dwayne Farmer and Charlie Smith, who I played doubles with in high school. We were both offered scholarships, so I stayed here and went to school at Tennessee Western. Wonderful family, parents, grandparents, hard workers. My grandfather Bohannon was a barber, farmer. My grandfather Perkinson was a textile worker, owned a small grocery store, neighborhood grocery store. Had the best of both worlds, small city living. Spent a lot of time on the farm though with my grandfather Bohannon. Got familiar with farm life. That's a great education in itself. Had great mentors growing up. I was in Boy Scouts, very active in Boy Scouts. Prof. Howers was not only my principal in elementary school, but he was my Boy Scoutmaster. And so I did a lot of things with Prof. And Ben Wilson. Great church life, First Baptist Church here in Athens. And then I started a banking career that was led by Lawrence Roseberry at the First National Bank and Trust here in Athens. He was the president CEO and worked there. Great mentor, a lot of great mentors growing up that really showed how services, how you service others, how you serve others, either through church work or Boy Scouts, whatever. Just fortunate to really have some wonderful mentors that showed me what service was all about. I married my wife, Lynn, in 1976, and today we're 44 years later. We're both retired. I met her at Tennessee Western College. We had 2 wonderful children. Athens, the friendly city, is a great place to raise a family, and I've been very fortunate to have that background.
Well, thank you very much, and your family's contributed to this community for so many years, and you're continuing a family tradition there for certain. Bo, you've been on the Athens City Council for several years, and you've served in several capacities and on many committees, but I think most significantly you've been both vice mayor and mayor. And I know when my tenure on the council, during that time, you were a tremendous mentor to me, and I'll always be grateful for the leadership and the example that you set. And you set a high bar, and I was delighted to have you as a mentor for my time with that tenure on the council as well. But I wanted to ask you, what can you share with us about the capacities you served in and the number of years you've been on the council?
Well, serving on the Athens City Council was not something really in my plan of life exactly. I thought about it, but Lawrence Roseberry, again, he was the same person that was my president CEO at the bank, became mayor here in Athens, and he and I talked one day, and there was an open council seat one of the council members moved out of town in 1996, in fact, and I applied, and through a group search committee on council, I was selected to be on council. So I've been on the council since 1996, 24 years. Served with a lot of great people. I went through, it's 4-year terms, so I've gone through six elections and been fortunate to win each of those times to continue to serve on the city council. Served with some great people, including you, Ann. We were talking about a high bar. I think you raised the bar a lot too for me, in that we both served in I think a very dedicated type of way. We were always students of government, learning more every day, learning, not only looking inwardly at what we were doing, and most of the time that was a very, very good job, because we had some really good city managers, Mel Parker and Mitch Moore. For most of the time I've been on the council, Mitch Moore, who was a professional city manager also, and had experience in some other cities he had served, and came back here, native of Sweetwater, came back here. And so we looked inwardly at what we were doing, but we looked outwardly too. We participated in national programs, National League of Cities. We participated in state leagues, Tennessee Municipal League, and we looked at what other cities were doing, and we learned from them. And there was nothing wrong in bringing those good ideas back to Athens, because we shared what good ideas Athens had with other cities, and there were many. And we found that Athens did a lot of things well, and we were always looking at constant improvement. Capacities I served in, I've been was mayor in 2002. 2004 was a great time for me to be mayor. Enjoy that very much, but I've been vice mayor many of those remaining years that I've been on the council. Served on Athens Regional Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Juvenile Services, and the committee structure of the City of Athens is such an integral, intimate, significant part of the city, because it gets other citizens involved in the city. And these are volunteers committing their time to trying to make their city better. So the City Council, working through those committees, helps the city function in the, as you referred to, high bar that the citizens expect of the City of Athens. And you get the participation and the involvement of those citizens from all over the city in contributing to the city, and possibly maybe future council members, maybe future other committees they may serve on. But these are dedicated individuals, and I think it really helps the city a lot. But I've served on most of the committees that the city has, including Athens Utility Board. And of course, Athens Utility Board and the Athens City Schools are part of the City of Athens, underneath the City of Athens Charter. And we've been fortunate to have a really strong Athens Utilities over the years, providing all utilities for about the whole area. And the Athens City School Board has been blessed with some elected leaders. The City of Athens appoints the Athens Utility Board members, but the Athens City Schools members are elected by the population, by the voters, to terms. But we've had a real strong Athens City School program too. I think serving in all those different committees, I've become really familiar with what makes the city hum, what makes the city work.
During your council tenure, what are some of the accomplishments you've seen that you could share with us?
Glad to do that. And I thought about this before today, certainly, and made some other notes, as I've already referred to, and some things to make sure I didn't leave some things out that were very important. First of all, the government is a team effort, and we talked about that a little bit with the citizens involved in not only the overall committees, but we've got a citizens advisory committee that each council member selects 5 members to that advisory committee, and we turn issues over to them and get their support and their advice. But the city manager, the staff, the selection of the staff, the way we compensate, the way we provide benefits to our staff, the people we hire to do the job of law enforcement, fire department, what they do and the protection that they provide, the public works that keeps our streets in good shape, deals with sanitation, deals with all the things public works deals with, the parks and recreation, and what they do for the city and what the citizens expect of them. And we know from the usage of our parks, we know how important that is to the city of Athens, to the citizens of Athens. Certainly our community development area, our finance area, our HR, human resources area, all those areas are very important to us, all the citizens, all the staff. But some people may already know, but there's only 3 jobs that the city council selects, and that's a city manager, city attorney, and the city judge. I wrote down here, learn from everyone. You're always learning about how things could be done better. But specifically, I think that our Parks and Recreation department is very important to the city of Athens, to the citizens. We have 10 parks in Athens. The Athens Regional Park is probably certainly our biggest star of a park, 120 plus acres, and there we have softball fields, we have pavilions, we have the conference center that we have out there that's very important, is used by the community, pavilions, lake, we have a disc golf course out there, have a playground. We have a lot of things that a lot of cities come through and look at and say, I just don't understand how you have that nice a park for this relatively small community. It's something special. But Eureka Trail, we just added that 2 or 3 years ago, Rails to Trails program. It's 4.2, ready to add 2.6 miles to it. Be about a 7-mile one-way from Athens to Inglewood. And that's a cooperation of governments. That's a county, McMinn County, that's the city of Inglewood and the city of Athens, all working together to have this wonderful asset, this wonderful resource that really has been used very well, much beyond even our expectations. The community has embraced that park, or that Rails to Trails. And the other parks we have, whether it's Market Park downtown or whether it's Echo Park that Denso Manufacturing Company has helped us put together, all these parks, Prof. Powers Park, Heritage Park, Cook Park, we're just real proud of our park system. The other thing I think that is really integral and really probably the main thing of government is to create a climate for investment, where companies can feel good about coming in and planting their flag in Athens, such as Denso Manufacturing Company. Denso Manufacturing Company, this is what I found in some of our records. Denso Manufacturing has the pleasure of announcing the grand opening of the monolithic carrier plant on Thursday, October 7th, 2004. You're invited to join their celebration. Denso is the largest employer between Knoxville and Chattanooga, some 2,000 employees, and we're just very fortunate to have them here. But we're very fortunate to have a lot of employers here. And any time you have a groundbreaking, you have a ribbon cutting for either a brand new employer or additional investment in an existing manufacturing plant or any kind of employer here, you know you put your citizens in a better position to maybe raise their standard of living, and you're growing a community. And we're very fortunate to have an economic development authority here that is pretty much a model at the state level that most communities say they really wish they had the model that McMinn County and the city of Athens has. And we're very fortunate to have that. I want to refer back to budget just a minute. Budgeting is the real core of what we do in the city of Athens. There's a 2019-2020 budget for the city of Athens, and that is a document that really all citizens should read. But it is our guiding light. It's our guide for what we do. And because of strong city management, strong council over the years, a involved, interested council, and knowing that we needed to be conservative, hopefully progressive, but hopefully conservative too financially, we have strong reserves. We are able to be nimble, I call it nimble, and be able to deal with things as they come at us. Sometimes we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when there's going to be natural disasters, tornadoes, fires, things like that some of this community has experienced. But we have to have the ability and the depth to be able to deal with that, and that comes with having a good budget and good planning.
Absolutely. You're facing, as Vice Mayor of Athens, as well as other members of the City Council and the city itself, unprecedented time here. Challenges that we never thought we would face as far as running businesses, schools, government, whatever. There's so many things that have been impacted by the coronavirus. And I wanted to ask you today, how do you feel that has affected the city of Athens? And looking forward, what challenges do you see the city facing as we move forward through this time?
The pandemic, the coronavirus, COVID-19, of course, hit the United States in January. March 12th is when the Governor Bill Lee of the state of Tennessee declared it a statewide emergency, health emergency, state of Tennessee. It was the following day on March 13th that President Trump declared it a national emergency, health emergency. It's been a really challenging year. Sometimes we just look at each other, okay, what does the next week bring? We were concerned financially, certainly. What is this going to be? What's going to happen now that a lot of businesses are closed or very limited in their services and their ability to sell their product? A lot of employers also were going into some kind of a partial shutdown or maybe a full shutdown. What's that going to do to the economy? We didn't know. We've not been down this path before, or at least since 1918 was the last pandemic, and which is 102 years ago. Why you say, well, what does this mean? And so we looked at it financially and tried to determine how we can continue to provide city services. And I made the notes here. Certainly with safety, we want to be safe, we want to be responsive, and we want to be informative. We want to make sure and inform our citizens what they can look for, how we're dealing with the situation. So there was a public relations team developed from internally the City of Athens to try to deal with it and make sure we elevated our social media to a level, Facebook, Twitter, different types of social media, and informing the public about what was going on. Just not wringing our hands, we're trying to take action to inform, both on the world scene, the national scene, state, and locally, how this was going to impact them. Information breeds kind of an understanding and some level of confidence then. And so our public relations team internally came up with some ideas. Then our city manager did something that is not commonly done across the country. He went for 60 straight days and presented a Facebook post of information, a video of where we really stood on the COVID-19, what the impact was going to be on our city, what Governor Lee's executive orders, which we were following, what they entailed, what they meant. Limited accessibility to restaurants, limited accessibility to businesses, what it was going to do, what it was doing to our community. So that was part of what was done. And then there was a group came together from citywide called the Friendly City Forward, where we had a website and we posted all information that came to us from the state, our information comes from the health department, etc., on that website. So we were trying to get information out to our citizens, telling them what they could observe, what was going on in the community, what was accessible. Through it all, we did not close our parks. Our parks stayed open. Playground limitations, certainly. Our swimming pools during the summer, our swimming pool, we have one pool, we had to be concerned about accessibility to that. We did provide that and provided that until its just recent closure here since we're looking at today's September 29th, cooler weather. We've closed the swimming pool. So in other portions of our parks, the Riga trails, etc., how those are going to be accessible. So the sales tax collections for the city has been much beyond what was predicted, what's projected. And so we've had a solid time through this financially. We're going to see what the next few months provide. But I think we've kept the citizens pretty much involved in understanding what was going on. And we know businesses have closed. We know restaurants have had limitations. We know people have been hurt. Families have been hurt. We had about 25 deaths in the Smith-Macon County area, and we had some hot spots. We continue to have some hot spots occasionally, but we've really advocated the wearing of masks, social distancing, the washing of hands, being careful, being safe, and trying to project that to other people, the importance of that, because that never did come down as an executive order from Governor Lee requiring the use of masks. They left that to local jurisdictions to do that. And we didn't either, but we sure did advocate, and we continue to advocate for it because we're not through this completely yet.
Well, tell me how you think this coronavirus has affected our schools here, the challenges they've faced. I just can't imagine the different, having to adapt to virtual teaching as well as in person and trying to cover all bases with the students. Also, you're facing some challenges with building the new school. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I can, and it was with my wife, having been a school teacher for 28 years in resource and special ed, and being really interested, my mother being a school teacher. We have a lot of teachers in my family. And schools have been much part of the government as we've tried to figure out for years, working with the city school board, trying to support them financially, since the schools don't have any financial source except grants and maybe some federal money and state money coming through. But locally, we've been trying to make sure and over the years support them financially in the upkeep of the schools. Looking at virtual learning, looking at doing all the testing, all the safety of the students, but trying to get back into an educational, I'll call it a rhythm, where they're maximizing the teaching and the learning has certainly been a challenge. And I think that Dr. Melanie Miller was our school director of schools until June 30th. And then Robert Green became the director of schools July 1st. Both of those people, both of those leaders had a wealth of experience and had a very, gave that experience over to trying to figure out how we might get the best of all aspects of learning through this difficult pandemic period, but do it in a responsible and safe way. And So I think they've around 1,800 students in the city of Athens, city schools, and the way they've designed that, and they work with a pediatric team of McMinn County of doctors to give advice to what they did. They've really taken the steps that I think that we can be very pleased with to try to maximize the learning and giving people the freedom of whether they want to do virtual learning, the parents and students, virtual learning, and they've trained the parents on how to do that, maximize that virtual learning, because someday all the students are going to be back in the classroom to maximize that learning. So I think all that integrated together, they've come out with a plan that so far has worked very well. I know we're just a few weeks into school, just a couple months now, and there's still changes taking place. And yes, they've had some COVID cases, but they've isolated and dealt with that. So I think they've done very well in this unusual, unprecedented set of circumstances.
Well, Bo, I want to thank you for your leadership, the time that you have, so many years of your life you've dedicated to this city in so many ways. And I thank you so much for your time here today, and I wish you well.
Thank you. Enjoyed it very much, Aaron. Thank you.
Great.